Hello, welcome back to the Mayor's channel where I'll be sharing with you how I completely reset my life at age 60. Not an easy thing to do, not necessarily a fun thing to do, but yeah, I did it and I enjoyed it and I'm still enjoying it. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you about decluttering, how I decluttered and what that meant, and how we saw the hand of God, how we confirmed whether or not this really was God's move for us. You know, it's very difficult to declutter. If you've watched The Minimalist on Netflix, it talks about living on as little, as few possessions as possible. It talks about the beauty of not having a lot of material possessions, material goods and all. That wasn't me. I had a lot. Okay, well, maybe not that I had a lot, but I've not made any conscious effort to declutter my house in a long time. And I'm telling you, this was like what? Things accumulated over 10, almost close to 15 years actually. So there were all kinds of things, the children's things, my husband's things. Some of them had grown up and left home. In fact, most of them, all of them actually had grown up and left home. But their things were in the house, things from secondary school, high school, things from university, toys, old toys we never used anymore. We didn't use anymore. Old clothes, pots and pans that were not in use. Just a lot of things that you gather over the years. You're sure you would need them. And then books. Oh, the books. I need to do a completely fresh video for the books. I had books. I mean, I have a foundation called the Get to Library Foundation where we interest underserved communities in reading for pleasure. So I had hundreds of books. I mean, hundreds of books. A lot of books. And what was I going to do with them? I couldn't carry them with me. I didn't have anywhere else to put them. I mean, like, I didn't have any other house, or I didn't have the option of renting a warehouse or renting storage to say, okay, I'm going to keep all of these things in this place. So it was a huge, huge issue for me. Immediately after we took the decision to say, okay, you know what, we're moving, one of the first things I did was sit down and do a mental appraisal and say to myself, what am I taking and what am I leaving? Now I knew that all of the big things had to go. We are talking air conditioners. We had air conditioners in every room. We are talking freezers, fridges, all of those things. I knew they had to go. And of course, many of them we had decided we would sell or would give out, sell as much as we could, give out what we couldn't sell. But there were other things that had sentimental value. One of my hobbies is collecting mugs. I collect country mugs. And I knew that whatever happened, I was going to go with my mugs. So I had to decide that, hey, the mugs, I'm not giving them out. I'm not selling them. I'm not throwing them away. Wherever I go, my mugs go. But I have things of sentimental value. Like I mentioned already, I had a lot of books, which naturally meant that I had a lot of bookshelves. I had bookcases. I had big ones. I had small ones. And tell you what, all my bookcases are precious. Or let me say, they were precious to me. But I wasn't going to carry bookcases from one country to another, traveling through hundreds of kilometers to get to where I was going to. It just wasn't going to happen. Especially that I didn't even have a house where I was going to. Why am I going to do that? Ship bookcases. So that was an issue for me. What was I going to do with my bookcases? I had wardrobes, I had cupboards, I had tables, chairs, so many things. Again, I knew that some would have to be sold, but I was in a dilemma. How do I handle the things that have sentimental value? So I said to myself, I just sat myself down the way I usually do, and I said, hey, look, you know what? This is going to be a painful process, but you're going to go through it. You're just going to go through it. And so I decided early on that I would make a list of things I wanted to keep and things I wanted to give away and things that had to be sold. The things that had to be sold were the easiest for me. I just made a few calls. I put a list together and I said, hey, I shared with a few people to say, hey, look, you know what? I need to have these things sold. That was easy. I had no attachment to some of these things like air conditioners. I mean, some of the air conditioners were brand new, but that was the easier decision. Hey, you want to buy? Come and buy. This is it. Put a price tag on it, and that was it. Now the books. For the books, I had to decide what was I going to do with the books. I didn't want to throw them away. I don't throw books away. And then again, it was like, okay, you know what? We'll have to pack the books and keep them in storage. But there were some personal books, books on my TBR list, books to be read. I had to keep those with me. So I was like, okay, you know what? We'll pack these ones and we would travel with them or ship them ahead or ship them to come after us. But hey, remember, we didn't have an address where we're going to. So how do you ship things to a place where you do not have an address? Now, the one that was kind of tough, but it was tough and it was easy at the same time, were my clothes. You know, a woman will say she doesn't have clothes, and then you go into the wardrobe and you see all kinds of things. So I had bags and bags of clothes. Some I don't wear anymore, some I still wear, some I wouldn't give out because, oh, somebody gave me that one, or this one used to look nice on me. Again, I sat down, did something very brutal. I just had bags. I was like, no, giving this one out. This is going, this is going, this is going. So I had bags of clothes that I was giving out. I didn't sell any clothes. I wasn't going to sell any of my clothes at all. I was just going to give out. So I had maybe about 6 bags of things I was giving out, clothes that I was giving out. So that went into that. But you know, just deciding, is this coming with me? Is this going into the giveaway bag? Is this coming with me? That took many days. I would go to the office, come back, and then I would sit down, sift through, sort through, and say, okay, no, let's give this one out. And then I would keep some, and I said, no, you know what? I'm going to give this one out. One of the things that helped me was thinking through what's the climate of the place where I'm going to. Ghana is hotter than Nigeria, okay, generally, but I lived in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria, and the temperature is kind of like the same, but with the difference that Accra is much more humid than Abuja. Abuja has dry weather, Accra has humid weather. So I had to look at the clothes that would be appropriate. Then another thing was asking myself, what kind of social events am I likely to be attending when I get to Ghana? And I knew that for the first few months, I wasn't going to be attending anything social. I didn't know people, so I had no social network. So that was going to be easy. So I looked at them and I was like, you know what? If I'm not attending parties, weddings, things like that, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. And then would I be going to an office? That also made it a little bit easy for me because I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't have an office where I'll be going to yet. I probably will be working from home for the first few months. So I also use that as a measure to sort out some of the things that I sorted, and then I gave out the handbags, the shoes. I was like, what shoe would I need? What shoe would I not need? So that's how I went through my clothes, you know. The kitchen things were a little bit more challenging because I had to ask myself, what would I need in my kitchen?